Hello, Jesse. Uncle Sean here, ready to take on the next chapter in Roald Dahl's masterpiece, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So, Charlie Bucket and all of the other lucky guests at Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, except for Augustus Gloop, of course, have seen some amazing sights since they began their tour of the Chocolate Factory.
So far, they've eaten grass from an edible meadow. They've rushed down Chocolate River Rapids on a pink candy boat. They've met Willy Wonka's mischievous little workers, the Oompa Loompas. And most recently, they visited the inventing room, where hair toffee, everlasting gobstoppers, and many other kinds of fantastical goodies are first created.
So Violet Beauregard, the girl who chews gum all day long, is going to have to try to keep from getting too excited, because in this chapter, Chapter 20, we're going to learn more about that remarkable machine that Willy Wonka lovingly refers to as the Great Gum Machine. Let's read.
Mr. Wonka led the party over to a gigantic machine that stood in the very center of the inventing room. It was a mountain of gleaming metal that towered high above the children and their parents. Out of the very top of it, there sprouted hundreds and hundreds of thin glass tubes, and the glass tubes all curled downwards and came together in a bunch and hung suspended over an enormous round tub as big as a bath. "Here we go!" cried Mr. Wonka, and he pressed 3 different buttons on the side of the machine. A second later, a mighty rumbling sound came from inside it, and the whole machine began to shake most frighteningly, and steam began hissing out of it all over. And then suddenly the watchers noticed that runny stuff was pouring down the insides of all the hundreds of little glass tubes and squirting out into the great tub below. And in every single tube, the runny stuff was a different color, so that all the colors of the rainbow, and many others as well, came sloshing and splashing into the tub. It was a lovely sight. And when the tub was nearly full, Mr. Wonka pressed another button, and immediately the runny stuff stopped running out of the tubes. The rumbling sound disappeared, and a whizzing, whirring noise took its place. And then a giant whizzer started whizzing round the inside of the enormous tub, mixing up all the different colored liquids like an ice cream soda. Gradually, the mixture began to froth. It became frothier and frothier, and it turned from blue to white to green to brown to yellow, and then back to blue again. "Watch," said Mr. Wonka. Click went the machine, and the whizzer stopped whizzing. And now there came a sort of sucking noise. And very quickly all the blue frothy mixture in the huge basin was sucked back into the stomach of the machine. There was a moment of silence. Then a few queer rumblings were heard. Then silence again. Then suddenly the machine let out a monstrous mighty groan, and at the same moment a tiny drawer, no bigger than the drawer in a slot machine, popped out of the side of the machine. And in the drawer there lay something so small and thin and gray that everyone thought it must be a mistake. The thing looked like a little strip of gray cardboard. The children and their parents stared at the little gray strip lying in the drawer. "You mean that's all?" said Mike TV, disgusted. "That's all," answered Mr. Wonka, gazing proudly at the result. "Don't you know what it is?" There was a pause. Then suddenly Violet Beauregard, the goofy gum-chewing girl, let out a yell of excitement. "By gum, it's gum!" she shrieked. "It's a stick of chewing gum!" "Right you are!" cried Mr. Wonka, slapping Violet hard on the back. "It's a stick of gum! It's a stick of the most amazing and fabulous and sensational gum in the world!"
Well, that's the end of Chapter 20. And you're going to have to tune in next week to see if Violet Beauregard can really keep her cool in the face of the world's greatest stick of gum. Or is she going to end up like our old friend Augustus Gloop? I don't want to give any surprises away, but the next chapter, Chapter 21, is called Goodbye, Violet. Judging by the name of that chapter, I don't think things are going to work out the way Violet Beauregard thought they would. Well, we'll find out more next week. I love you. See you next week, Jesse. Bye! Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if you're still here, then I'm going to subject you to a joke. It's joke time. You ready? What do you call a train that carries gum? A choo-choo train. All right, well, I didn't make up the joke. I'm just telling him. All right? What else do you want, buddy? Bye.